so I can sing along with you.
I know,
but at home I have to listen. Yeah. Okay, so it's time for new products. So we only got a couple new products, 4 new products. See, I'm from Boston, where a couple is 3 or more.
Yeah.
But I know that couple is actually 2. We actually have 4 new products, but they're really wicked awesome. Take it away, Phil. First
All right.
up.
Well, this is a coming soon.
This is coming soon, but we're gonna order some. So this is the Pi Top, and we get a lot of emails from people saying like they have these like all-in-one computer laptop things. But this one actually they did a really, really good job, and so we got a sample of it and we put it together. It comes in multiple pieces. It comes as a kit. You put it together. However, once you put it together, I'm just letting you know, it does not come like this. You have to assemble it. Once you assemble it, you have a Raspberry Pi laptop, and I even have one.
Okay. Do you want to hold it up in big camera and then try to do the overhead, or what do you want to do?
Yeah.
So it's actually a laptop. I think people are going to like this. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to like this the most.
Go.
I think the people that are really into kind of making their own laptop, kind of bunny style, where you know everything about it, you know the open source kernel, you know everything that you can figure out about it.
Yeah.
And super high security. It's on an SD card. It's almost like a burner OS.
So we actually put a Pi 3 in it.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I should play YouTube videos, but it can play like you can play like YouTube videos.
Laptop,
it's a laptop. You put the keyboard and there's a Pi underneath here. You can kind of sort of maybe see it. This is it's translucent, but it's quite dark. But there's a Raspberry Pi underneath there, and so you put a Pi 3 in. That's what we suggest because it comes with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in. And then you boots up. You can use their image, or you can boot whatever image you want. It's got a battery. I have it plugged in, but you can unplug it. Look, I just unplugged the battery. And I don't remember how long it runs. Maybe like 4 hours on a battery, but there's a little battery inside. And
great for the kids and great for Snowden.
Yeah, so. And there's it looks like you can have the GPIO cable come out here. So if you want to have like cables or like hardware. Oh yes, this is for USB. But you can also have maybe a GPIO cable slide out here. Oh no, sorry, I totally misunderstood what that was. My mistake, sorry. That was a little slidey up. It looked like a slot, but it wasn't. It's actually just showing you the Pi and then the little helper display hub thing. And, but yeah, you could, the GPIO actually comes out here. And where does it connect to? Maybe on the bottom? I don't know.
Yeah, as you can tell, we just got this.
It's
coming soon. Sign up so we know how many to get. They ain't cheap, but there's nothing better than these. These are really good. We like these.
Yeah, so. This is pretty neat. And so let me put this back. And there's a little bit of space. I mean, you could put a little bit of sensors or prototypes or a breadboard in here if you want it.
This is part of the one laptop per Stallman project that we're working on.
It's not really open. So the Pi is not. So
yeah, I know.
He wouldn't be into
close as you can get.
But you could change this out with like an Odroid or a Banana Pi or whatever. Basically, I'm sure you could because it just uses HDMI. Sure. So if you really wanted a pure open source all Winter 20 thing, you could.
Yeah. Okay.
You could do that too, probably.
Right.
But anyway, sign up. Coming soon.
We have a power supply.
Hold on. Let me plug it in.
Okay.
This is an updated product, but I did bump it because it's a significant upgrade. The power supply is now a 2.4 amp, 5-volt power supply. So people who have the Pi 3 can draw quite a bit of current, especially if you have like all the Wi-Fi and power and you're stressing out the chip by doing all stuff with it. You might want a little bit of extra power. So it's basically the same power supply we had before, but a teeny little bit more power. You get 400 milliamps more, but basically the same plug, MicroUSB cable, FCC UL listed. It's a really, really good quality power supply. We've been selling this for a couple years, and it's the same one that goes in all of our packs, and people love it. Never had any issues with it. Like powers Pi's like nicely.
Okay, and then we have a book, but this is no ordinary book.
This is not an ordinary book.
This is a big deal. This is the Art of Electronics hands-on lab course book. And for those of you following along at home, you may remember that Our Lady Ada was quoted on the Art of Electronics, the latest one that did come out, and she's also quoted on this one.
Yes.
So
this book, which I just got, did we actually take one home yet? If not, we should.
We do.
Yeah, I think
we do have one because we're going to do a disc of Lady Ada. Yeah.
Okay.
We do have one at home.
So this, so this book is ginormous. Okay, just like to give you a hint. But this book, it's not like the old spiral-bound copy of. Wait 1 second.
I don't think it's going to work out the way you think it is.
Really weird. Used to. Okay, so this is not like the old book where you would follow along with both. You actually, this book is meant to be standalone, so you can go through and follow this, and it's more, well, it's more educational. Like instead of just teaching you the theory, there's a lot more exercises and projects, and there's like a list of parts you get, and you actually try out resistor dividers, and then they instead of just having it be like one little section, they actually kind of take you through each section. And it's just like a massive, again, there's labs for each one, but you don't need to have the art of electronics. This is actually designed to be completely silent. Like, for example, they cover like breadboards, which is not, it's a little bit too practical even for the art of electronics hardcover book. But they have, projects and labs, and they tell you how to read resistors, and so they go into much more depth of how to actually practice, and also what goes wrong, like what things do you have to learn. Like, for example, when you read a multimeter, if you're, depending on what setting you have your ammeter on, you might have some small error because of the sense resistor. Like, this is stuff that they'll teach you as you experience it. So I'm actually kind of excited. I want to kind of go through this because it's been a really long time since I did a lot of analog electronics, and it might be fun just to go through and review this. So I like it. I think both are essential, and I think the previous Spiral Bound was maybe better for, it was really best for people who were in school and were going to kind of take a course. This is designed for self-teaching, and I think if you want to learn more of the analog side of electronics, a little bit of Arduino, this will take you very far. And they do talk a little bit about like frequency domain and stuff, but I think they introduce it in a gentle manner.
Okay.
So
all right, so check out the site and more. And
passband filters. Yeah. So and then it goes on. I mean, it goes on forever. There's like a chapter about FETs, and sure, Transistor Man's in here, and they go through digital and here's some how to wire up CPLDs and RAM. I mean, it goes on. So this is a 1,000-page book, and it will have a lot of practical knowledge, and I'm really excited.
Okay. And tonight, the star of the show besides you is the Wicked Feather.
Wicked! Okay. So this is the new feather. This is, kind of get back to the feather a week. Keeps the feather away. I don't know. This is the latest feather board, and this one is designed by K-Town and TAC. They're like a team. TAC did a lot of the Arduino IDE implementation, and K-Town did a lot of the project management and hardware, of course, and some of the low-level Broadcom interfacing. This actually uses the same module that's in the particle photon. We were actually interested in, this was kind of the best module that could use that chip. It's the BCM 44 something, I can't remember the part number, and an STM32 F205, I think is the part number. It's a 1 megabyte flash, like 256K RAM, 120 megahertz Cortex M3 processor. It's a pretty intense processor, and it doesn't have the Wi-Fi core built in. The Wi-Fi core is actually a separate chip, and they talk over SDIO. And that's actually taken care of for you transparently, that you basically just say, hey, open up a TCP socket, open up an HTTP socket, and all of the Wi-Fi is done underneath. And what's really nice about the Wicked chipset is it's extremely advanced. So the Broadcom Wicked core it's used in like Wi-Fi dongles. It's a very trusted, fast, secure core. It has support for TLS 1.2.
That's what everyone really likes about this.
Yeah, the big thing about it is it has a lot of very good native SSL support, and it has TLS 1.2. For example, Amazon will only support 1.2. We even asked them, hey, will you ever have some maybe exception for 1.0 or 1.1? They said no, or it's basically 1.2 or nothing. So if you want to do secure Internet of Things, and in Amazon's opinion, they're like, we don't believe 1.0 or 1.1 is secure enough. Because there's no way to reject the certificate. So you would use this chipset. I think this is one of the only embedded Wi-Fi chipsets that can do TLS 1.2. I mean, if somebody knows another one, let me know, because so far it's the only one I know of. But this is a very advanced, intense processor. It's extremely powerful, again, 120 megahertz, Cortex M3. It's got 2 DACs, like 8 12-bit ADCs, or maybe it's 10-bit ADCs. I don't know, I think they're 12-bit ADCs, PWMs, 2 SPIs, I2Cs, DMA at the wazoo. We also stuck a 2 megabyte flash chip on there in case you wanted to store files. You know,
it's a huge amount of storage for.
Yeah, well, I mean, you want to, for example, we have the ability, you can spin up your own HTTP server on it. So if you want to have it as right now, you can have it as a debug server. So, because we, like, while K-Town and TAC were debugging this, they wanted to, like, check the heaps and stacks and memory management. And so it actually, when it starts up, it would, they would have it start up a HTTP, a web server, and they'd connect to it on port 80, and it would tell them, like, here's the chip status. I mean, like, it's, you have 120 megahertz to burn. So whatever. So they could store files and photos and JavaScript and stuff on it. So it's quite advanced. It still has the same Feather format, battery charging. It's got this lovely little chip that does all this on there. And we took the Maple library, which is the board support for STM32 on Arduino, and modified it to support the STM F205, and also have a lot of native support for the Broadcom chipset. So you can do stuff like, for example, again, you have a megabyte of flash, we put Paho MQTT in there. So it has native MQTT support. You basically just, like, you call MQTT, you don't have to include a library, it's built in, and it's running Paho, which is kind of like the standard MQTT client. It's like the official-ish one that people use. It's got everything built in, and you just call it and you're ready to go. But it also has support for all the Arduino IDE extras, such as wire and SPI and analog read and analog write and digital read and interrupt attach and all that good stuff. We wrote a whole bunch of examples for it, so you can check that out. Like, I think there's like 20 examples from downloading files over SSL from S3 to MQTT to Adafruit IO to, like, I think this web server, this web client. This is kind of a new platform for us, but we're going to hit the ground running with a lot.
Yeah, the Feather ecosystem plus WICED is very powerful. Plus, you have Adafruit.io, and then you have all the things that go along with Feather.
But this is finally one that you could use with any Internet of Things platform, and you don't have to worry about, like, weird security issues or like not having a secure interface. Like, you can finally do all this stuff. And I mean, it's a powerful enough processor that, you know, eventually we could do stuff like add, like, OAuth support or whatever. Like, these are things that are possible when you have something like this that's powerful. And it's a Cortex M3, so it's like you get full control of this processor, which is nice. We do have an RTOS running because otherwise it's too hard to handle. The Wi-Fi stuff happens in another thread, but you still have a lot of control over it. Like, you can shut down. You know, like, if you want to do NeoPixels, like, you can stop the Wi-Fi handler, stream a bunch of NeoPixels, or use DMA and then bring it back up. You don't have to. You're not sharing your RTOS with stuff that you can't control, which is like kind of ESP 8266. It's very inexpensive, but there's kind of stuff happening that you don't necessarily know about.
Okay. And that's new products for the night.
So yeah, an amazing job. It's a year-long effort by K-Town and TAC. It's amazing what they did. This is awesome. K-Town's going to be doing a lot of projects, videos, tutorials with this. I think we now have everything from, the ESP8266 Huzzah Feather. It's a little, not low end, but it's powerful. But it's a lot of good entry level. It doesn't have a lot of pins. Doesn't have ADC. Doesn't have DACs. Doesn't have DMA really. To the Wink Feather, which is a SAMD Cortex M0 with Wi-Fi. Also has SSL. Has a lot of has ADCs, DACs, PWM, and then up to this, which is kind of the higher end processor and Wi-Fi capability.
Pluck your feather today. I don't know. Pick your feather. I don't know.
So we have 3 options, and they're all they're all compatible with all the Feather wings. So you could start your project with an ESP8266, and then upgrade to, as you need to upgrade to the Feather WICED, or start with a WICED and then pare down your project. Turns out, I don't need DMA, or I don't need 2 DACs. I only need, I'm willing to use I2C, and then downgrade to
This is
Feather.
intense. Who talks like this?
I do.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty hardcore. That's new products, Lady Ada.
Yeah.
Okay.